if you think about your brain like a computer, if you put better quality information into a computer, you're going to get a better quality output. Same thing is true with your brain when you're driving. If you put better quality sensory information in through our vision, through our auditory, through our hearing, and through our kinesthetic, our feel, and the G-forces pushing against our body, if we put better quality information into our brain can then do more with that. The example I use all the time is when we tell a driver to look farther ahead, what we're really doing is say, put better quality sensory information, visual sensory information into your brain. So one of the things that separates the very best drivers from the rest is their ability to soak up really good quality sensory information, visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. To get around a track quickly, sensing the limits of the car, it comes more from our butt and the G-forces pushing against our body, what is called kinesthetic sense. And that is between that and how we listen to the sound of the tires and the air rushing past the car and engine note and all those sounds we take in, that's what tells us whether we're at the limit or not, more so than our vision even. So yeah, our butt feel is really important. I think about the steering wheel as both an input device, in terms of I input something into it, it makes the car do something, but it's also an output device. It is what's telling me what's going on at those front tires and to some extent the rear tires as well. So it's that connection, what we feel through our hands through the steering wheel is absolutely critical, and that's why hand position on the wheel and a proper fitting steering wheel is so critically important too. If you look at driving the car to its limits, no more, no less, that's almost the job description of a race driver. It's saying drive the car to its limits, but don't overdrive it as well. Overdriving the car, underdriving the car, you're losing time that way. And there are times where you have to be patient, and it's probably one of the most difficult things for race drivers is to be patient. We're not patient people, and yet we have to learn how to do that, where to be a little on the, not underdriving, but pacing ourselves a little bit. That's important in certain types of racing. And obviously if you overdrive, you're just scrubbing speed and losing time. I think a car tells you to some extent what it wants and whether it's at the limits or not, but you have to ask. And that means you have to drive the car close enough to the limits so that it starts to give you that feedback. If you well below the limit, the car isn't going to tell you what it wants. How do you know when you're driving the limits? You got to test it constantly. Whether it's add a little steering input and see how the car responds, add a little throttle, see how the car responds, and take little bites of that over the limit, but then be okay bringing it back to the limit. And again, that's the job description. Drive the car to its limits, no more, no less. Braking is obviously critically important to going fast, but it's not so much when you start to brake, when the begin of braking is, it's when you end braking and how you release the brakes. It's that timing and rate of release of the brakes. So, the timing being, do you start to release before you turn the wheel, as you turn the wheel, or after you turn the wheel? And then is it a quick release or a very slow release? When you get that timing and rate of release of the brakes right, you make those fine adjustments to your corner entry speed, but also to the way the car is loaded up and balanced, and you make the car do what you want it to do. You get that right, and you've got good corner entry speed, as well as getting the car set up for a good exit out of it. The timing and rate of release helps you rotate the car, and if you use the brakes right, the brakes actually help you get to full throttle sooner, because you get the car to rotate, change direction, now you're pointing where you want to go, and now you can fully commit to the throttle sooner. But again, if you get that timing and rate of release just right, you get the car to rotate and move just the way you want. Well, obviously, the later you brake, the longer you spend at top speed going down the straightaway, approaching a corner. So later braking helps, but not to the point where it starts to change how you enter the corner. And so it's all about that hard initial application of the brake, but then using that timing and rate of release of the brake to get the car so you can manage that corner entry speed. It's critical. Braking is, I'd say braking, and it's particularly what drivers do at the end of the braking, is what separates the best from the very, very best.